program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it is Friday on an ice storm day. So everybody be careful out there. Very shortly, it's going to turn to ice and going to be treacherous. So
they say between noon and 2 p.m. it will turn to ice, and then it'll be ice all night long.
Yep.
So obviously the people who are watching this at home on Channel 95 will not be able to get this message, but yeah, it's important. I want to lead off with something. Carol Fiola posted last night that her, Paul, Alan, and the mayor, and Mike Rodrigues all had a Zoom meeting in regards to Chapter 70 funding. For those of you who don't know what Chapter 70 funding is, Chapter 70 funding is money for the school system. And they're touting that they got the city another $23 million for the school system. I guess we're going to hire some more administrators.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But former City Council President Cliff Ponte brought up something very important. Because the Chapter 70 funding went up by $23 million, the city is going to have to come up with $2 million more. Carol Fiola's flip comment was, well, $23 million for $2 million, that's not a bad deal. Well, it's a bad deal when you don't have the money in your budget as it is. And you can't keep using one-time money to make this budget, balance. But that's what they're doing.
Of course. I'm taking some notes here on something I'm going to talk about later, but transposing. Yeah, but look, they don't care about money. Again, we have the class war. The people that are rich don't care. That's a good deal.
That's exactly the attitude that I took off this post, was that $2 million, what's the big deal?
All the politicians who get rich on their side businesses, like Pelosi and the state reps, they're all loaded. I like to see the tax return. Kenny's got like 6 jobs. I don't think any of them pay less than 6 figures, unless it's like 2 hours a week, and then he only gets like 40 or 50,000 for 2 hours a week. No, you're flipping from, oh yeah, who cares? Well, I'll tell you who cares. The people that are living on $35,000 for a family in the city of Fall River and are living on a per capita income of about 24. That's who cares. The renters care. The owner-occupied 3-deckers care, because they have to raise the rent, and then people can't make rent. Which gets us into the next thing. I mean, they don't care. Money it's like playing dominoes, because it's not their money. And besides that, Carol and Alan can run up to Boston and give themselves a pay raise tomorrow. See, that's the problem. Inflation doesn't hurt them. It doesn't matter if inflation goes up. They can just unilaterally change their salaries, change their stipends, without the approval of the people who are their employers. And I will remind everybody that years ago, every time they got a pay raise, it had to go before the voters. And boy, they put the kibosh on that one. As soon as that Halloween massacre took place and we cleaned out half of the State House, they said, look, we can't let the peons affect our bank accounts. We can screw them to the wall with taxes, but it doesn't matter. You will not interfere with me making money. It's like Nancy Pelosi saying, oh, I made $5 million in investments with insider information. Well, do you think you should be able to do that since you get information? Because that's what Martha Stewart went to jail for. And what was her response? Oh, this is a free market. Everybody should be able to make money, especially when you got insider information. And her husband made $10 million, she made $5 million. She's worth over $300 million. And they tracked their salary from the time she started, which was about 60 grand. Now they make like, I don't know, 200 grand, I don't know what it. But if you look at her salary and look at her net worth, how could she do that? Since she never had another job except being a legislator. This is the problem with the country. We're allowing this elitists, as that Woods said, the elitists who nobody likes. Now I'll tell you why they don't like you. Look, they don't like you. And the next thing we got coming down the pipe is Diman.
That's right.
And Diman, they've got a beautiful system for that. So I'm going to say it right now. CJ can hit you with the details. City Council, vote no. Vote no on this how much?
It's a $290 million
Yeah, but
building.
I'm saying our share is like 120, I don't know.
120, 130 million, something like that.
But it's a ballpark right now. But it's over $100 million added to the Durfee High School debt override. So you're going to get another tax hammer. So you know something, City Council? When you vote no, you're not voting against education. What you're doing is you're voting for the people who elected you. Let this go to the ballot and let the people of the city of Fall River decide if they want to take another $100+ million debt over the top of this debt override for Durfee High School. And I don't want to hear about, the education, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know, after you get rid of 50% of your administrators, and I'll get to that later, that's one of the points I'm going to make later. You know, when you get rid of half of that fat you got in every school department everywhere in the country, we'll start talking about, worried about, for us to continue to pay out of our pockets. This is obscene. This is obscene. Nobody gives a damn about poor people. And I mean, look at them. You think Markey's poor? You think Elizabeth Warren's poor? There's no poor politicians. If you're a poor politician, you haven't been in office very long.
Or you're not doing something right.
Or you're not you're not doing something right. So
or you are doing something right.
This is ridiculous. So you want to explain that maze that they've created to accept this, because it's not just like a regular debt override.
That's right.
This is like bizarro world.
This is like shove it down your throat and take it hard.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the way it is. This will go before the City Council. They have three options. The first option is to vote to accept the school. Now, when they vote to accept the school, not only do they accept the school, but they accept the financing. They don't get an option. If they do nothing, which is their second option, then it automatically happens and they automatically get the financing. Or their third option is to vote no, and then it goes to the voters. So I would ask that every single viewer, every single person, call your city councilor and tell them to vote no. They're not voting no on education. They're not voting no on a new Diman. They're voting no so that the people of Fall River can make the decision. This is not something that should be handled by the politicians. This is your money and it comes out of your pocketbook. And it's important that you have a say. But the way the law is created, it's created to take the opportunity away from the citizens.
Yeah.
And that is not right.
Yeah. And let me just, again, because we did this ad nauseum with the debt override, and they lied to people about the debt override. They lied about all the specifics and everything else, and we know that. And this is the same thing. I'm going to reiterate what we said about this. Saying no for the council is putting it back in the hands of the voters. And if you vote against this, you are not anti-education. What you are is pro-people. If you decide that you don't want, the people of Fall River decide that we've gone with Diman for I don't know how many years, and you know what you're asking them to do, and it's horrifying to them. It's absolutely horrifying to them. It's like asking Fauci not to make money off these pharmaceuticals and stuff. This is a horrifying concept to these rich political hacks and their friends. because they're going to waive the children again. The children. Well, they've been getting educated at Diman for years. We've had a lot of people that went through Diman, went on to successful careers. Is it going to be a little bit more difficult without a state-of-the-art Newtonian school? Well, maybe. But you know something? You know what you're asking them to do? What you do every single day in your life. If you don't have enough money, if you have to put a new roof on your house and it's going to cost you 10 or 15 grand to put a new roof on your house, you're not going to have, you can't go out, maybe you can't go out and buy a new car. Maybe you can't go out for steak every weekend or lobster. You have to live within your means for a while. You can't renovate the house. You can't put an addition on the house. We can't do things every single day that we really want to do, like not go to work and go to Fiji in the middle of the winter and lay on the beach in Fiji. We can't do that. Maybe Mike Roderick and Carol Fiola and Alan can go to Fiji and lay on the beaches. We can't. We can't. We have bills, and we have unexpected bills. You can't just blow all your money. If you say, listen, Diman's been functioning for a long time. I would love to give them a new school, but at this point in time, we can't really afford it. We have to see how this debt override with the high school goes and how much it affects and impacts the regular people of Fall River. This is the problem. You are talking not to normal people. They are not your state representatives. They are the dukes and duchesses. They are the elite. They are a privileged class. They have political privilege. They can look down in those and spend all your money while they're all getting side jobs, and you get a nice gig at the college, no show for 120 grand after you retire. You leave the mayor's office, you end up rotating yourself into the education system for 300 grand. These people do not live in the world that the average people of Fall River do. This is why Fall River remains what it is. Because they can't get out of, you can't get out of your own way. And I'm gonna tell you something that's really, really terrible to say, but this is the way they want it. From the 1800s, when the mill owners said that keep them working 14 hours a day because all they know how to do is drink and have kids. So we're keeping them out of trouble. They're like our little pets. We work them to death, and then we can throw them out in the street like our machines when they break. They don't really care about your life, because let them all volunteer to live a year in a 3-decker of our choice, and we'll see how much they change. And let them live on your budget. Let them live on your budget. The renters, the owner-occupied multifamilies will be banding together. We're going to have to make a change.
Well, like Marie Antoinette once said, let them eat cake.
Let them eat cake, exactly, because they got plenty of cake. Here, we'll give them the crumbs. But the issue is, when I found that out yesterday, and then adding insult to injury, I find out about the $23 million and the $2 million more we have to come up with. I'm like, just keep slamming the city of Fall River. It's a good deal. It's a good deal.
But City Council President Ponte, former City Council President Ponte, said it very well. He said, we've been asking you, Carol Fiola, and the state delegation to come up with a plan that it does not hit the cities this way, that it does not affect the budgets of the gateway cities.
Yeah.
And that's when her answer came out. Well, $23 million for 2 sounds like a good deal to me.
Yeah, well, of course, everything sounds like a good deal to her because she can give herself a pay raise to pay whatever she's paying, and nobody cares. And therein lies the problem. So this is going to get to me that something it's staggering. But our boy Brandon is always talking about getting to the core. Well, I think we're reaching the core of the problems in cities like Fall River, even worse. Baltimore, one of the most dangerous city in the United States now, a city that, for the record, has lost half its population over the last 20 years.
Typically refers to the number of
Oh, look at
people
this.
in a
I got
single
Siri
area.
talking to me. Stop that. Stop it. Stop it, Siri. Please. Gee, Siri's talking to me about population. Lost half its population over the last 20 years. And I'm going to say, for the record, it's been run by blacks for the last 40 or 50 years. Black mayor, black police chief, black city council, virtually all black. It's been a pit for all these years, and it's getting worse. Now I'm going to tell you why it's a pit, and it continues to be a pit, and it always will be a pit until this is addressed. These are accurate facts. They're not mine. The Baltimore schools tested 625 high school students' reading levels. This is what they came up with. 484, or 74%, of high school students tested at the elementary school level. Elementary school. Not middle school, elementary school. Okay, now here comes the good ones. You get ready, fasten your seatbelts. 71 students in high school tested at kindergarten level. Kindergarten. 88 at first grade level in high school, and 45 tested at second grade level. Students tested, only 1.9% tested at grade level. So what do you think somebody that reads at the kindergarten level, first grade, second grade, elementary school level, what are they going to do in the future? They're going to come out of high school illiterate, functionally illiterate. So who are they going to compete? Who are they going to compete for jobs with? Illegals who are going to do it for a half a buck. They have no future. They're doomed. Before they ever become adults, they're doomed. And you know what the response to those stats were from the mayor of Baltimore, who is black? That's racist. No, what you're doing is racist. You are denying people of your own color an adequate education. This is unbelievable. And we're going to get to why this stuff happens. The wokies who live in their academic bubbles, the people who talk about MAP, minor attracted people who live in a bubble. Let them walk around on a real street or on a tier and see what happens. You know what the answer to this was? The answer to this absolutely horrifying, somebody in high school that reads at a kindergarten level. So your 5-year-old has the same reading level as someone in high school who's going to graduate. Because this is what a surprise. The Harvard-educated, and here's another one, Fall River School Department, listen to me. I got another job for you. I got another job for you to create. The chief academic officer of the Baltimore schools said, we will graduate them even if they fail all their courses to avoid a punitive approach. What? This is what these blue states and the Dems and the liberals do. That's why all their cities are crap holes and they're crime-ridden. What do you expect these kids to do? They're either going to come out, and you know what their job options are? Drug dealer, criminal, or pimp. If you read at a kindergarten level, what do you think you're going to do with your life? What do you think they're going to do? They're forced into that by these Harvard-educated turds that come up with stuff like this. You're going to, that's what happens. This is what the Dems do. They say they're going to cure everything. They make it a total disaster, and then they change the rules. What happened with sports? Sports used to be a place where you built character, learned that if you suck at something, you work hard and get better at it. That hard work translates to success. Oh, no, we can't have that. Somebody's feelings are going to be hurt because they got beat. Well, years ago when you used to get beat, the coach used to tell you, you guys suck. Go practice harder, and then you'll win. Not anymore. We're going to eliminate keeping score. Non-result-oriented sports. Now we have non-result-oriented education. We have a Harvard-educated chief academic officer. Remember that, school committee? Got another job for you to create. This has got to be at least 180 grand. That's a really good title, chief academic officer.
There's some of the 23 million.
And this is it, because it's punitive to flunk kids who are not achieving. But believe me, I'm not condemning the children. It's not their fault. They went to school to get educated, and they didn't. And this is what these people do. They pick your pocket. Education has gotten more expensive, and they're doing less. Now they're getting to the point where why even send them to school? Screw it. Just let them out in the streets, run around when they're 14. When they get out of elementary school, because you're only training them to an elementary school level anyway, so to hell with it. When they're done with the 8th grade, turn them loose. This is absurd. And this is one of the worst cities in the world. And you know what their response is? You're a racist. No, they're the racists. And if you don't believe me, this is not new. I'm going back in history because I study history. Go on YouTube and you Google in Malcolm X's speech, ballots or bullets. I think it was in 1964. It's about 56 minutes long. Listen to that speech. It's eye-opening. In 1964, Malcolm X said this was the problem with the black community. They're being repressed by being undereducated and not taking responsibility for their own successes. Listen to that speech. Malcolm X was speaking the truth when he said, I'm for justice no matter who it's for, and I'm for truth no matter who tells it. He was speaking the truth in that speech. Pay attention. But this is just, I mean, I thought it couldn't get any worse. But then look what happened. It did. A Harvard bubble person.
Bobblehead.
Yeah, the academic bubble, who probably has never been out of an academic setting in their entire life. If they walk down a ghetto street, they'd be the first person that gets carjacked or something, or mugged. So the chief academic officer is now going to graduate people who flunked everything and read at a kindergarten level. What in the hell is wrong with these people? You're telling me they're not living in an alternate universe? Well, they are.
But you know, when I was teaching at a university, and here at BCC, they'll also tell you that the majority of students that come in require remedial courses, remedial math, remedial English, just to come up to where they can function in a college environment. And you don't get credit. You got to pay for those courses. You don't get credit for anything from them except the ability to go on to take other courses. But it's required.
Yeah.
Because you won't function. You just won't function.
Yeah, you're going to flunk out.
Right. And, you know, this is the big problem. And this, if you look here at BCC, you see a lot of these students, they take the placement exams, and then they're required to go on to take a remedial course, whether it be English, reading, math, whatever the case may be. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing for those students. And I'm not saying that those students are stupid. What I'm saying is their school system that they came from did not do their job.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Did not do their job. And what I believe should happen is those students that come here and have to take remedial courses, the cost for those courses should be transferred back to the school system they come from.
No, it's a
because
very-
they didn't do their job.
No, it's a very good point. But the thing is that we said a few shows ago, we talked about how good BCC was. How many people came to BCC without even a high school diploma with a GED? And then went on to get an associate degree, a bachelor's degree, and some went even farther. It's not, we're not blaming, see, that's the thing. It's going to be, oh, you're anti, no. We're not blaming the kids. We're not even blaming some of the educators. It's a minority of those people who are destroying everything, just like BLM is a minority. The wokies are a minority, but they control the narrative and control the media. That's the problem. The problem is those kids went to school every day to be educated. And because somebody gets to this level, that's why I think community college is so important, because, you know, it's nationwide. The public school system is failing dismally. That's why there's a push to get rid of it, basically, and let parents put their people in other alternative schools, because it is failing throughout the country. And yeah, it's not the teachers, it's the chief academic officers, the deans of students, and all these tiers of people who are not in the classroom, and they're afraid to test because they throw the tests out. They tested here for achievement. You know what'll happen? They'll never give that test again, ever. Because they don't want anybody to know that there are people walking out of a public high school that read on a kindergarten level. It's inconceivable. You wonder why this country has the problems it has with crime. What are these people going to do when they get out of school? They can't read. They can barely write. They're functional illiterates. What's your job opportunity? You just lost it because Brandon's letting $2 million a year over the border to compete for the only jobs you can get. So it's horrifying, and you know this is disgusting, and it's ironic that we're talking about building more schools, because all we do is spend money on education now. And I look back 20, 30 years, we were spending a lot less money, had a lot less fancy buildings, and the kids were coming out with a hell of a lot better education
Yes,
than
they
they are
were.
now. And nobody's looking at what they love to do, the wokies. Let's look at the core issue. This is a real simple core issue. Children are not being educated in the educational system. That's the core issue. It's that simple. We're paying hundreds of billions of trillions of dollars nationwide to educate children, and they're coming out, as you said, to take remedial courses before if they get to college. How is somebody that reads at a kindergarten level ever going to get into, even in a community college? They can't read. So, I mean, I don't know.
And
if
you know,
can't figure out why all these cities that have all these wokies are in this condition, there's your answer.
And then, you know, we hear all the time, every time they're talking about opening another charter school,
Yeah.
we hear, oh, no, you're taking money away from the public school system. Yeah, but those charter schools are producing. They're producing. The children are learning stuff. They're intelligent. They're coming out knowing stuff. They're doing well on their placement exams. They're doing well on their placement tests. They're not coming out at the kindergarten level.
But that's the problem. They want to eliminate testing, but that's what should happen. Testing isn't punitive to the student. What it is it's a metric. You test them to ensure that they're learning. And if they're not learning, it's the educational system that has to be tweaked, not the student.
That's right.
But they don't. What they're going to do is do what they did: throw it out, graduate them all, don't test them anymore.
Well, at one time in Fall River, we had that same issue where they were graduating students that shouldn't have been graduated because it was all about the numbers. And that was a brief period of time in the history of Fall River. But at that time, every school in the Commonwealth was doing the same thing. Well, we've given you something to think about. Remember, call your city councilors and let them know you are against funding a new school at this point in time. Have them vote no, and have the people of the city of Fall River vote on whether or not to fund it. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks for inviting us into your home, and remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. Thanks for watching.
Look out for black ice.